This Corecon training video examines another feature found under Human Resources or HR module. In this training video, we're going to cover how to enter labor time cards and then how to approve them. The labor time card feature provides a system for entering daily or weekly time cards for each employee on a project. The benefit of Corecon's time tracking feature is that an employee's time can be tracked for multiple projects, contracts, and job cost codes. Labor time cards can be entered in Corecon Mobile. They can be imported from clock in and clock out features. But in this training video, we're going to explore 3 ways to enter labor time cards manually and then how to import them from Microsoft Excel templates. A few things to remember. All security roles in Corecon allow labor time card entry. However, cost and bill rates are not sent until the labor time cards are approved, which will move entries from the pending to approved table. Only the default administrator and financial administrator security roles can see cost and bill rates. Only the approved labor time cards will appear in project analytics under committed cost and cost to date columns. After you've entered labor time cards and they're approved, these entries can be exported to Excel to be later submitted to a payroll service or exported directly into accounting software integrated with Corecon. A few reminders. You must create payroll items such as straight time, overtime, and so on in Corecon's global settings. You can optionally create workers' compensation codes and settings as well. Make sure that employees are set up and payroll items referenced in the default rates table shown on the employee profile form. If standardized union rates are applicable, then labor items could be beneficial for establishing time card base, burden, and bill rates. Also, make sure that the prime contract that will be referenced on labor time cards is approved and has a status date. A job cost code is required when entering time cards. Although labor time cards can be entered through Corecon Mobile and through the project management module in Corecon's browser product, we're going to be using HR to enter time cards today. First, we're going to cover the 3 manual methods. So let's go to the main menu, HR, down to labor time cards, over to actions, and let's add a single employee time card. We're going to backdate this to Monday. We're going to enter a time card for Gordon Hill, who's a project manager. We also have the option of copying this forward. So we're going to go ahead and assume that this is the same time card for every day in that week. Sometimes it's easier to copy these forward in that fashion and then go back and only deal with the exceptions of any time card or day that is different. We're going to select the project, the prime contract. If the hours in that column relate specifically to a change order or work order, we could select those. If these 2 fields are left blank, Corecon assumes it's part of the base contract original budget. We'll leave this at regular time, select the workers' comp code, a job cost code, and the number of hours. We're going to say that he worked 8 hours every day this week. We could add comments. Copying this forward for 4 days. First entry is on Monday through Friday. And then we'll add and close. We want to filter out the employee we just entered. We can see the 5 entries were made. At this point, if one day we're different or need to change a cost code and so on, this could be done from this area. But copying it forward sometimes saves you a lot of time. The next method is to add a single employee weekly time card. I'm going to select another employee. We can opt to show mileage or comments. This entry screen is laid out a little different than the previous. Instead of 1 column per entry, this is 2 rows per entry. So first we're going to select the project just like we did before. This is the prime contract. We'll go over to the pay item. the job cost code, and enter the time for this week. While we're doing it, let's go ahead and set up a second row because this employee had some overtime. Put this at overtime, give it a cost code, and then start entering the hours for the week. We're going to say that every day except Wednesday worked 8 hours. We'll say Friday was 10 hours. That's regular time. You can see a total of 40. And maybe on 2 different days also worked overtime. We may even want to change the cost code there if need be. If the billable versus non-billable is left blank, Corecon assumes that it's billable. And that's important in this case because the prime contract is a cost plus contract. And then we'll click add and close. If we want to filter just to see that employee's time card for the week, we can see there's the hours for that week. Back to HR. The third way we add time cards is as a crew. So let's add a crew time card. And we're going to go back 2 weeks on this one. And click next. You'll see the default employees set up for that crew will appear. If there's ever an employee that's not usually on this crew that you need to add, there's an add feature here at the bottom. The same is true for the crew equipment. And if you go all the way to the bottom, you can even start entering information for the daily log, such as the activities and the daily log weather and site conditions. So we're just going to go in and select a cost code. If we need to add comments, we'll set that up as payroll item is regular time, and we'll do the same thing for one of those employees that's a project manager. Also, we'll put that at regular time. Notice that we can enter only one project and one prime contract at a time using this method. We can also copy these forward for 4 days and choose options of time cards and equipment time cards or both. We're going to go in and add Gordon, worked 8 hours, and the rest of the crew worked 7.5, except for this employee who didn't appear this week. Maybe we'll make that one 8 hours. Same for the equipment. You have regular time, idle time, and downtime for each piece of equipment. We're going to say that one worked 6, and that one worked 6 as well every day. Project manager wouldn't have equipment usually under their column. All right, we are copying this forward for 4 days. Again, we have the option to add daily log activities and daily log weather and site conditions. And then we click add and close. Another way to enter time cards into Corecon is from a Microsoft Excel import template. To find these, go to the knowledge base, getting started, to Corecon import options, and under time and expenses, labor time cards. There are the instructions and reminders at the top. At the bottom are the database fields, which also serve as the column headings in the import template. And if you open that sample, the key field to import from this import template is the employee name. In Corecon, we go back to the HR module and to active employees, and we open Fred, click edit. The field that Corecon is going to match to is this one. It's the display name, not necessarily the first and last name in separate fields. Go back to the employee list again, and we'll select another employee. And I'm going to copy the display name in this case, because I want to put that into my template. I'm going to put in the work date. I'm going to select the project number. I'm going to update the prime contract number. The project needs to already exist. The prime contract needs to be marked approved before you can import to it. So we're going to say that this is all 1.0 ST. And possibly this last one is 1.5 OT for overtime. The cost code that we're importing does need to be in the project. So I'm going to go back to the project just to show you where I'm getting that information from. And we'll go into contract admin, cost codes, and we're going to select this cost code. Although multiples could be used. We'll use the hours as they've been set up. I'm not going to bother to fill in the workers' comp code. That can be done when I approve the time card. Same with labor codes and change order numbers. If everything looks good, then I can just click File, Save, and File, Close. Back to Corecon, to the HR module, down to labor time cards, to actions, and we're going to import from Excel. We'll choose the file and click Open. All 6 records were imported. Back to HR. Now we have labor time cards for 2 weeks. Before we approve labor time cards, we may want to run some reports. Make sure that we have everything entered correctly. I'm going to set this up for this week and click Filter. We may also want to back that up another week because we did enter 2 weeks of information, and then run a log style report. Might be a good idea to enter labor time cards grouped by employee. This is a single project report. We do get total hours for those 2 weeks for employees. If we go back to the report list, we could also run reports for multi-project if employees worked across multiple projects. Once we've checked total hours by employee, we can go back to Human Resources or HR, go to Actions, and approve labor time cards. These can also be filtered. So let's go up here and switch the dates just to include the 2 weeks that we just entered, and click Apply. Before we do, I'm going to select all just to show you some of the global changes that you can make at this point. Of course, we're going to use the approved time cards in a moment, but I could lock time cards. I can update the workers' compensation codes and reset the rates. Same for labor codes, billable status, and so on. I'm just going to select the approve and lock time cards and click Save. And all the time cards that I had marked with that check mark will be updated. If you'd like to know more about the information in this training video, we encourage you to go to the knowledge base. Under Corecon Browser Solution, go to Human Resources, and then down to Labor Time Cards. The information in this training video, as well as additional and detailed information, can be found in this knowledge base article.